Alright.
Alright, Tommy.
What do we want to talk about? We'll introduce ourselves. I'm Tommy. And for those that haven't been here, neither one of us has had time to even do a video ourselves. And this is Stevie Future.
AKA Mr. Everything.
Yeah.
Right.
We might have to change the name to something else that somebody else copyrighted.
Again. Thank you, WWE.
Yeah, thank you, WWE. Always copying us.
What else is new?
Yep.
We're just gonna stop sending you ideas. That way you don't get it anymore.
Unless you're gonna pay us for it.
Yeah, the Raw show was kind of like crap.
Yeah. No worse than the TNA pay-per-view.
Yeah. That was even worse. Yeah. You know, started off with Josh Roberts introducing Cena at a podium, and he's bored as hell reading the podium, reading it, whatever, with enthusiasm like this, introducing Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett gets mad.
And quote.
You know, comes to find out that Wade Barrett makes a fool out of David Otunga. And then he gets up in Cena's face. Cena pushes over the podium because he has to be a special guest referee in the main event tonight. Because the Raw GM interrupts the celebration, says it's canceled, and puts John Cena as a special guest referee. He gets pissed off. He pushes over the podium, and Otunga steps in his way, and Cena pushes him over. And then that's the end of that segment there. Cena's pissed about being a referee all the time. And then another segment was where Wade Barrett has a segment with David Otunga in the back.
Yep.
After he lost his match to, let's see. Actually, that's later on in the show.
Yeah, that was later on.
The Divas Cup was next.
Randy Orton came in.
Well, yeah, Randy Orton ended because the Barrett made him announce that he was the new WWE champion, and then you hear Randy Orton's theme music, blah blah blah, and he will never blah 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 be the WWE champion as long as I am blah 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 blah. And a bunch of like, okay, you're talking,
Yep.
pretty much. It's not really wrestling anymore. It's a soap opera without blood. Thanks, guys, for taking that away.
Yep.
When I was 16 years old, maybe even younger than that, I watched the Attitude Era. It hurt my head. Thank you, Mr. Man. I really don't want to talk about Raw either.
We can just give them the basic results. Match number 1 was Bellas beating Eve Torres and Bellas and Eve Torres were tag team.
Faces versus the heels.
Yeah.
And the faces one, which was the Bellas and Eve Torres.
Yeah.
And the heels were Alicia Fox, Maurice,
and Tamina.
So faces win. Blah blah blah. Next match.
This is a segment where Nexus is in the locker room with David Otunga.
And they all walk out on him.
And saying that Cena tried to punk them and nobody punks them. Yada yada yada.
Hart Dynasty has their match with the Usos.
And the rest of the Nexus leaves. Leaving Otunga.
Yeah, they leave him by himself, which sets up for something later.
Like rats from a sinking ship.
Yeah.
Then they go to commercial. They're back. WWE Rewind. Natalya defeating Michelle McCool last week. Again, to allow Natalya to get the title match at Survivor Series. Match number 2. David Hart Smith.
But they also announced that the now Divas match that was a singles match at Survivor Series is now a handicap match.
Oh, okay.
So Natalya now has to face Layla and Michelle Uncool.
Michelle Uncool. McNaught. McNaught Cool.
Lane.
Anyway,
and the Hart Dynasty.
Hart Dynasty versus the Usos. Usos win the match.
Because miscommunication between the Hart Dynasty, because they took them up to split them up.
Yep, Jay missed a diving headbutt, and Smith tries to leave, but Natalia forces him back on the apron.
Well, actually, the finish was a botch because
that's how it goes.
Jimmy, whoever was, Uso, he had David Hart Smith try to go for a drop kick, and they both botched. So they just kept going with it.
That would have been a suplex.
And then he did his flash off the...
Smith hits the running power slam for a near fall. Jimmy makes a save.
Bit.
Kid misses a baseball slide to the floor, and Jimmy hits a super kick. Smith knocks Jimmy off the apron, and Jay goes up top and hits the superfly splash for the 3 count.
Basically, blah, 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 blah. And then they advertise the old school Raw.
Yeah.
The old school wrestling.
For a 3-hour Raw coming up.
That's next week.
Back and was Stryker and Randy Orton. And Matt asked Randy who he thinks his partners will be tonight, since the Raw GM made that announcement that it's going to be Team Orton versus Nexus.
And then basically Otunga says, the Nexus guy, you need to have my back, because you're either Nexus or you're against us, blah, blah, blah.
And then they go back
to the break. And then the video packages the whole NXT recap, which I'm getting tired of seeing recap.
And Slam of the Week. And then the wedding of the century from last week's NXT.
It had the whole Rhodes family.
Yeah.
Dusty, Cody, Goldust as the groom, and then Oksana comes out. And then Ted DiBiase Jr. with Maurice comes out and says she's going to get deported because the only way she's going to stay in the country if I get my belt back. And then Ted DiBiase Sr. comes out
as a special preacher.
And actually, he is a licensed minister.
Yeah, he is a licensed ordained minister.
And he finished it, and then she says, he says, maybe kiss the bride, and as he does that, Oksana slaps him and leaves.
Yep.
And Goldust wasn't mad. He kind of took it as like a, hey. This is how I started.
Turn on.
Yeah. And then that leads into the next match, which is Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Goldust.
Right. And it's for the $1 million belt.
No, it's just a rivalry match. During the match, like a minute or two into it, Maurice tries to go over and take the belt. Oksana and her scuffle with the belt. And then Oksana slaps Maurice, and walks out.
And as the finish happens shortly after that, Goldust is running supposedly after him on TV. He was walking. And he was going after his $1 million belt to get it back. So she's the gold digger. Well, she got the gold and the belt.
And then he goes in, backs, and finishes the ring with a roll up.
That was after the match.
And then
backstage again, Nexus accompanied Otunga to the ring, who's sporting a new Nexus jacket. But Barrett sends them all to the back of Otunga.
Basically, the line up in the left line, and he goes, and he walks out. He looks at.
And the match is
less than
Otunga versus Cena. Squash match, maybe 2 minutes long.
Yep, and he does the
five-knuckle shuffle.
He does his moveset.
Attitude adjustment.
John Cena's shoulder block, powerball, power slam.
Yeah.
Or actually, it was a powerball. Just a little inverted powerball. Into the five-knuckle shuffle. Picks him up, lands the AA, and then says, "Okay, no, I'm not done." Pulls him up, and does a different style of STF. He usually does just a double hand. This time
he went all the way around.
Wrapped around and had him choking like this. So it actually hurt a little bit more. You could tell it kind of hurt him because he could wrench it. And then he tapped out with.
But you could see the gap in there.
Right. But
you could see it was fake.
But he's tapped out with both hands instead of one. To sell it.
And winner John Cena.
And then there's a segment between Otunga, because he had ice on him after with Wade Barrett. And Wade Barrett says, "You're going to have a match on SmackDown versus Edge, and if you lose, you're out of Nexus." So that's just another way of them saying is we don't need black people in the Nexus.
And his opponent is none other than Edge, I believe.
Right, Danny? They don't need any black people in Nexus. They only need white people. So this is the third member they've exiled that's black from Nexus.
African American.
African American, whichever one you want to call it. They're not white, so they're not in there.
David then
And then they have the Santino setup, which was next.
Yep. His opponent is Edge for SmackDown.
That's what I said. Come on,
Tea time for Santino.
Yeah, Tea time with Santino was absolutely hilarious. I laughed my whole way through.
The best segment of the night.
Yes, right. Santino's like he's trying to talk to Sheamus. That's what he calls him. Sheamus.
And his entrance is he's in a full tuxedo.
Him and Kozlov are in full tuxedos.
Tuxedo if you ever seen Charlie Chaplin movies, that's what he would look like.
Yeah.
And Kozlov with the same attire.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Bottom line is GM made a special announcement. He's got to wrestle.
Well, hold on. We gotta do a little bit of the skit. He's trying to get his fatigue, and Sheamus comes out.
Special guest.
And he's doing like this.
Sheamus.
And he goes, drops it right on him. Sheamus gets all mad. He runs out, and then Santino has his wrestling gear under his suit.
Yeah, under his suit.
So you take his hat off. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And then they start to ring the match. Santino's running all over the place, like no. And then you hear ding ding. And now his GM says, and if you don't, tell his idea, if you don't get in the ring now, you will be suspended. And he basically said, for how long?
They never got an announcement how long it was going to be.
And he lost the match.
He lost the match because
he accidentally did a Santino.
Accidentally
did a DQ so he wouldn't get hurt. He gets back
blow.
Classical kick from Sheamus.
Yeah, right there in front of him.
Pulls him up for
ding, ding, ding.
Pulls him up for the Celtic, the Razor's Edge, his style of it. And John Morrison comes out again.
Yeah, that's right.
And does his little thing or whatever.
Yep.
And
after the match, yeah.
Pulls Santino out of the ring and walks out.
Yep.
And that in that segment.
Okay.
I guess it's close to the end anyway.
Well, you don't want to tell them what the things were in the match? I mean, at the tea party, what he was saying? Okay, let's speed it up.
Actually, he was
match number 5 was Sheamus versus the Santino. We already went through that.
Last match of the night was Team Nexus versus. No, I don't care about the segments.
The
rest of the segments were shit anyway.
Main event.
Team Nexus versus Team Orton. And then basically they did a little scuffle for a while. A couple guys got a couple reps in.
They all got
tag. Yeah. At the beginning, the Team Orton looks really dumping it because they knock all Nexus off. Go to commercial break. Come back, and then they do actually some sets. Basically, everybody at the very end of the show, everybody's doing their
finishes.
Blah blah blah, and then
yep.
Alex Riley gets involved, gives the belt to Randy,
the briefcase
to Randy Orton's stomach because Miz comes in, typical heel, comes in, hits him, got him in the skullcrushing finale. Alex Riley hits him with the thing, and then he
it looks like it hit him.
Looks like he hit him. Falls forward, and then Cena's like, what the hell's going on? And then he pins him, and then Cena chases, what's his name, out of the damn ring. The Miz and all that.
Yeah, The Miz.
And Alex Riley, I'm like, what the hell are you doing, you douchebag?
Yeah. Winners of the match was Husky Harris, Michael McGillicuddy, Heath Slater,
Team Nexus won the match because he pinned Randy Orton after the...
And then you go to credits, Nexus celebrating, how was it?
Well, blah, blah, blah.
There was a dark match.
Dark match, three-way match between Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Wade Barrett, and Randy Orton retained.
Sounds good to me.
Alright,
until next time.